Mike. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Domains. Super exciting stuff to talk about today. I hear a lot of the domainers of the world are in Puerto Rico for the ICANN conference at the moment, but hopefully you guys are still taking some time to hop on here. Maybe a group watch party. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. And kind of talk about what's going on in the world of domains. Paige is about to log on here. Let's see. Let's get this chat open. I wonder where everyone's coming from. Go ahead. We've got a cameo. Anyone who's watching from Puerto Rico, go ahead and leave a comment. I'm curious how the conference is going. I don't know if it started today or yesterday. It definitely started today. I know Paige had some flight plans getting there, so surely it didn't start yesterday. Maybe it starts tomorrow. I don't know. But I hope that's going pretty well. Should be fun. It's a fun week in domains. Today we're going to be talking about some new exciting stuff that Freename's got going on. So I believe we've got a cool video to kind of show you guys. I'm so sorry. This is my cat. It's one of the joys of podcasting from home is, you know what, she's probably cuter than me anyway. Maybe that's who y'all are really here for. This could be a domain expert. Hi, Voss. How are you? So I hope everyone's doing good. We're waiting patiently on Paige to get in here for everyone who's listening. I definitely want to hear how everything's going over there at the conference. I heard it's been a crazy week in domains. It always is, you know. One of the fun things about it is you miss a day and you miss everything. It's almost like you miss, I don't know. It's kind of the fun things, especially in Web3. How's everyone doing? Love getting the comments. Hi, Donald. Hi, More Than SEO. You've been here every week, I think. There is Paige tuning in from Puerto Rico. How's it going? I heard you had some interesting travels.
Welcome from Puerto Rico, where it is still Monday night.
It's still Monday night here. What time? What time is it over there?
I'm 1 hour ahead of you.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay.
I didn't realize Puerto Rico is out east there in the, I guess it's in the Caribbean still, right where the Caribbean meets the Atlantic Ocean. So it's a 1 hour east.
So are the pirates still there? Do you see Jack Sparrow? If it's in the Caribbean.
Hold on a second, Jack. He said it's Captain Jack Sparrow.
I'm sorry. I'm so disrespectful. I hope I don't get pirated.
I believe it's Captain Jack.
Sorry.
He said that was his digital identity.
Ooh, okay.
See how I worked that in?
Yeah, I'm impressed. What's Captain Jack Sparrow's? What's his name?
Well, it was a good day today. I am down here, since you asked. I'm down here at a conference for a group called ICANN, which is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Ooh. My friend Sam was here. He would have his sound machine going.
Ooh. And I'll up my production over here.
It's funny, this thing we call the internet, it's a unique thing because it's kind of the whole world. The whole world is affected by the internet. So even though it was funded by the US government, they gave control over this thing called the DNS, the domain name system, to this group called ICANN, which has various stakeholders, meaning registries and registrars and technical people and governments and people that come up with internet protocols and stuff like that. And they all get together and they make decisions and they decide how the domain name system is going to go. So it's interesting because it's people. It's for you being a little younger than I am, you kind of come into the world and the world's already set up. Everyone's already in charge. You know what I mean? So this is who's in charge of the internet.
Let's see. It's over 5 a.m. I don't know where he's at. We have someone tuning in at 5 a.m. That's commitment right there.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
It's funny because the other thing that's happening is as I deal with more people globally, it's hard to say, well, I'm on U.S. Eastern time or on U.S. Central time. So then we come up with maybe we should all go by UTC, which is the basic zero time. Or maybe we should go by, maybe we should invent a new thing like Julie time or something like that.
Hey, I stay running on Julie time and no one else is. And it gets frustrating because people act like I'm late, but I'm just like, you're not in my time zone.
Gotcha.
I'm going to
So
start using that one.
I'm here with 5 other people from Freename. And so welcome to Monday Night Domains, sponsored by Freename, where we talk about domains and digital assets. And my name is Page Howe. I've been a domain name investor for the past 25 years, buying and selling and operating domain names, turning domains into websites, trying to think of different businesses to go on based upon domain names. And I think domain names are a special type of digital assets, unlike anything else. They can be an investment, and you can use them to power your existing business or a new business and sell and interact and market and do commerce with everyone in the world over the internet. So I think domains are special. I've invited Julie here to be with us. She's actually the host, so she invited me, I guess.
Okay, I think I invited
Julie,
you.
Introduce yourself and tell us about your experience with domains.
So hang on, I'm having to do a capture to make sure I can comment back to everyone. They're trying to make sure I'm not a robot, and some of these challenges are getting a little difficult. They're like, oh, click on the ones with cars and it's super pixelated images. Okay, everything's good. I responded. Okay, hi. Sorry about that. I am actually Paige's daughter, which is a super fun thing that we get to be and do with my dad. I've been watching my dad do domains for about 20 something years. We don't need to get into specifics. That'll come back and bite me in the butt later. But I have been into domains since last March. So we're coming up on about a year. I got involved with a TLD.CFD. That's kind of what I got brought on, which is clothing, fashion, and design. Because as amazing as my dad is at coming up with these businesses and these names and these uses for domains, which he has a new idea every week. If you ever just want to put in the work to start something but don't have an idea, talk to dad. He's got something. But he doesn't know a lot about clothing, fashion, and design, she says nicely. And so I got brought on for that. And through that, I kind of got introduced into the world of domains. And we kind of talked about how younger people haven't had to do with domains. We had a Google search engine and we have social media. We never really got to understand the true value, but there is a value. And so one of the things that I kind of focus on is getting new younger people into domain investing and into the thought of owning your own brand and your own site and not having to rely on other hosting sites and services to get your content out there. So that's how I got into this.
And I think that's a very good summary. And I think some of those traditional dinosaur players, huge companies like Google, they are not as all powerful as they used to be. Google got called out this week for making some decisions with their AI where they pre-formatted a lot of the answers to certain questions. And I think what's important to remember is that they do that in the domain world too. They do that in the internet world as a search engine. There's nothing that says they have to produce fair results. They might produce search results that favor their content, search results that want you to find out the time of a movie or a book or a show or buy an airplane ticket through them. They may not have it in their best interest to promote independent websites. And one of the things about domain names is the first and foremost thing you can go with a domain name is build a website. And even though Google helps highlight some of the content on your website, if you're doing something that they want to do also, you have to remember that they're going to have a vested interest in saying, no, we don't want to send people to that website. Yeah. And one of the most important things I've tried to share with Julie is understanding how you can have your own website. Even though it would be great to say Google's going to send you all this traffic, there's really no free lunch out there. There's no just, it's all going to be easy. And there's so many internet things out there where they say it's going to be easy. I'm here to tell you domains and websites are hard. You know what I mean? you're going to have to do the work yourself. But if you do that work, you're going to own something.
Yeah.
And when you own something, you can get all the revenue from the domain or the website. Or if you look into Freename, you can possibly own a top-level domain, and you can get the revenue from selling domains, on Freename. And so as I'm here at ICANN talking about different things, Freename has 3 companies that they're featuring here at ICANN. One is Freename.io, which is where everyone's heard of the ComNet and org and all the other new TLDs, and those work on the whole internet. But people started wanting other choices, and people started saying, well, why can't I have my own domain name that's not part of this exclusive list? And I think what you can have with Freename is you can own your own name on the blockchain that can still be looked up by people that have the Freename DNS system. And you can own your own TLD. You can own your own top-level domain. Second thing they're doing is a company called Web United, which helps bridge Web 2 and Web 3, meaning you can take your existing Web 2 domain name like julie.cfd or community.cfd, and you can give it Web 3 use cases. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you can have it in your wallet as an asset, and people can use that fact that it's in your wallet and they know you own it to interact with different dApps and smart contracts. And the third company that you have to take out this week is called Noto. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you take a quick little step back and just do a 1 minute, what is Web3, just in case people haven't checked out the podcast before, if we're really doing this for beginners. Quick. Web3.
Yeah, that's a great question. Web3 came about because for a long time we had something called Web 2. So to understand Web 3, people said it's the next thing after Web 2. And Web 2 was the next thing after the first web. The first web, everyone created content, static content on sites. I created a website. I put the content on there. You came and saw my website. A big part of Web 2 were companies like social media companies that did what's called user-generated content, meaning users put up the story of their life, what they were doing today on social media. And then companies were able to own all that data and profit from it. So that was kind of Web 2. Web 3 was this idea that, one, instead of centralized companies owning everything, it would be decentralized. There would just be a list of assets, of NFTs or something on a blockchain, and nobody would really own it. That's the first thing about Web 3. Second thing about Web 3, besides decentralization, is using this thing called the blockchain to keep track of records. And then the third thing I invented, is I said that the other thing about Web 3 is it happens fast. People can think up ideas this morning and then be in place in business doing things tonight, tomorrow, that may not need the internet. And Julie, I go back to when you first started interacting with Minecraft.
Oh, I loved Minecraft.
And Minecraft, you would say things to me like, oh, I'm on a server. And what did you mean by that when you were on Minecraft back then?
I was on a part of the internet that someone else created that we downloaded the Minecraft app, and we told it the name of the server that we wanted to go to, and it was created by someone else, and it was off the internet, and that's where it was like a little community that we were all in, and it was great. And then I think people like to destroy my stuff, but that's okay.
There's a lot of Web3 that came from that type of thing where it was digital, it was online, but it wasn't controlled by Google or Apple or Microsoft.
Right.
Well, Microsoft
and I think
Minecraft, but it wasn't controlled by them. It was this idea that you were doing it directly, right?
I think that's an important thing. That's an important thing to emphasize, because if you look with Web3, a lot of the people are like, well, you have to download a different browser to get this to work. And you're like, how would you convince someone to take that extra step? But we already got that out of the way. Like it's already pretty common to have to download an app to go to do something. So I think as long as it's well stated, now this is where I think there is like a little issue with Web3 is the disconnect in which browser to download for what. I think there should be, and this is where Web United can be really great, is if you type in your Web3 domain on Web 2, it should pull up immediately, hey, download this browser and type it in there. Not, because I think that's going to be a big deal, because I still don't always know where to go to a Web3 site that I want to go to. You know, I think Bravo is the main one I use. If it's not on there, I'm a little lost. So I think it's good.
Yeah,
That's
and
as
I
long as it's
think
clearly
it's my
stated.
job, like my Web3 TLD is .v. So what I have to do is I have a website, vdomains.io, and I have to say to people, if you go there, the first thing I want you to do is download this Freename DNS plugin so that you can see the whole world of .v.
And what is the
I'm
name of that?
there,
Can you download that just from the browser?
yep.
Excellent.
And so what's great about that is once everyone downloads that to see .v, they can also see Julie's .julie or Julie's what is your one you're working on? .girly pop?
No. Oh, I think I have .julie Jules, but I might have .girly pop as well.
Gotcha. And so every time someone downloads the Freename plugin to see one domain space, now they're opened up to see other new domain spaces. And what's neat about that is, say I get someone to download the plugin so they can see me at pagehow.v or the planet.v. Then if someone is also saying, hey, I started a new company called this, they know that the audience already has downloaded the plugin.
Right.
So now they can say, go to .girlypop or go to .usa or go to .india or go to .china, because they know that people are in that community. And so now you have this idea, and people say, oh, but how is it better than the existing internet? Well, is it better, or is it just the
apples
fact
to oranges?
Get a sense,
it.
They just get a sense that it's maybe theirs. You know what I mean? It's like it's not so crowded with existing people that already own everything. Don't you feel that, Julie? Like sometimes if you go and everyone already owns the good stuff,
exactly.
You are like, wait, I want to go to a new one. I want to create a new one.
And a space like that, sorry, we have Cameo. A space like that is automatically going to drive in innovation because we all can own our own TLDs. Whereas in Web 2, we rely a lot on registrars to promote that. And it's hard to get one in general, so there's really not a ton of competition out there in the Web 2 TLD world. There's the big three, and then there's kind of all the rest of them. There's not a lot of competition, so a lot of registrars aren't trying to promote theirs. Besides what we're doing with .cfd, you just don't see a lot of TLDs out there like, hey, we're doing .art and we're trying to make it better because we want you to join us. But in Web 3, you have little guys like us who are feeling passionate about our products, and anyone who wants one can have one, barring a little bit of money. But like if you have an idea and if you have the work ethic and the drive to make it better, you can succeed. And that's really, really important because that does not exist in Web 2 because of the ICANN system. We chatted about this thing our first week was getting a TLD is difficult. I know it's like a $50,000 application fee to even.
No, it's at $250.
Oh, okay. So it's $250,000 to potentially get a TLD. And so that's just not, it's kind of keeping the money in the hands of the big guys whenever we're the little guys. And the little guys have some really cool ideas, that's my spill is the little guys have some cool ideas and we actually have stuff to lose. We can't just sell our names as pointing address to other people and hope that we make something. It's like we have something to lose, and so we're going to try hard to make it work.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for asking your question. Jeff says, so in Freename, we can buy a TLD, but once we buy it, we have to buy domains on the TL we own. You can, but you can also have other people buy TLDs in your domain name. So if you own the TLD, like say you're Jeff Alexander, so say you bought .Alexander, and some TLDs are priced as low as $79. Some like last names and first names could be $800 or $1,500 or $2,000. So say you own .Alexander, and I don't know how much it is. And then someone wanted to buy, like you might buy Jeff.Alexander, and you get half the revenue for what that TLD, what that domain name would cost. So say it costs $30, then someone would pay $30, and you would get half of that income, $15. Or if you buy it yourself, you just have to pay $15. Right. And the neat thing about Web3 domain names, the ones on the Freename system, is they don't have renewals. Once you own it for life.
And that's crazy. That's awesome.
The idea is that, one, there's not really a lot of cost to have your record on a blockchain. It's like, blip, boom, it's there. Okay, so what did that cost? And even though the existing internet, you have to pay 10 or 20 or $30 per year, and these companies are worth billions, there really isn't that much cost to what they're doing. It's just putting records on a database. But the other thing about Freename is the blockchain is going to be there. So the idea is it shouldn't change if there's a domain name on the blockchain. Once it's on there, it's on. It shouldn't be like, well, it's on if you pay the renewals. Once it's on there, it's on. So once you own your TLD, you don't have to pay any renewals to own the TLD. And when you sell domain names, people that buy them, they don't have to pay renewals. And so, again, these TLDs don't work on the existing internet like COM and NET and US or CA. But hopefully, as time goes on, more and more people will know about them. But the other thing is they're going to give out more of these in a couple of years. And I just think that once there's 3,000 or 4,000 of these top level domains, you're going to have to, if you own one of them, you can either just sit back and get the money that comes in from the registrars showing it or people happening to want it, or you have to go market it. And as long as you have to go market it, asking people to download the plugin isn't that much of an added thing, because to get you interested in my TLD, I had to reach out to you. And as long as I reach out to you, the first thing I want you to do is download the plugin so you can see other sites. So I'm working on planet.v to be able to show somebody like a planet called .v, and they can see all the other websites in .v. And that would make you feel like, oh, I want to be part of that, or I want to own my own .v. And so by seeing other people do it, it would say, okay, I understand now other people are doing it. So I think that's kind of the future, I think, of having your own top level domain. Now,
Absolutely.
If you have all the money in the world and you can apply for an ICANN TLD, that's still the best kind to have. But it's going to cost, $500,000. You have to pay ICANN every year for it. You have to work with the existing registrars, and all that's good. I'm glad we have ICANN. I'm glad we have rules. I'm glad we have protection against abuse and people faking websites and people doing inappropriate things. And there's mechanisms to take them down. And if law enforcement finds out that someone's breaking the law with the website, they have things that they can do. So I'm not kind of a proponent of Web3 to get around the rules and get around the laws.
Right.
I just want to get around some of the monopolies.
I think the best way to go about it and the best way to even talk about it is, and I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily agree with me on this, but that's okay. It's my opinion. But is just using them both. I think it's so important to know when to, advertise on, kind of like I say with some of the .cfp stuff, advertise on Web2 because that's where the people are. Advertise on Etsy if that is where the people are. But once you've got some people, once you've got some interest, then take that to your own space and be in control of that, and you monetize. There is no need to give people who already have $16 billion another few $100s like that, especially when you're doing the work. Like, advertise on Web2. Web2 is amazing. It's got some great benefits. But if you have a great idea, people won't mind to download a plugin to access that. You just have to get it out there. And I think it's really important to have the balance for that, because that's the best way. You're going to get the best of all the worlds that way.
Yeah. Hey, Julie, one of the reasons I get so passionate about this for people is if you look at your budget, if you look at your checking account and what you're spending money on, there's a lot of digital things you spend money on these days that maybe people didn't 10 or 20 years ago. Between your broadband, your cell phone, the different services you have to buy, the different services you have to buy to keep track of the services that you have to buy, the different companies that are approaching you. And
the different apps that I pay $1.50 for a cute costume on my game.
Exactly. But one of the things I want to encourage everyone to think about is, if you're spending so much time online, you're spending so much money on online services, shouldn't there be something coming back the other way? Shouldn't you at least say, I want to operate something where I have some revenue coming back to me? And even if you're just gaming 12 hours a day, what if you gamed 10 hours a day and spent 2 hours a day doing something that you could monetize, doing something that you could make money on? Because the internet is this great thing where you can either put content up or you can put a product up. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is one of the ways to make money online is called affiliate marketing. And affiliate marketing says when you create a customer for someone, companies will pay you for bringing the customer. Because instead of like a salaried employee where they have to pay you every week, whether or not you bring in business or not, most companies will pay if you bring them a new customer. And the way you do that is they come to your website and they find out about something and they click on one of your links, meaning they get to a company's products and service from your website. The reason I bring this up, Julie, is I had someone ask me for a link from last week's show. One of the better domain name brokers in the world, who's brokered some of the highest domain name sales. He saw the video that you had done with the video service with online AI. And he said, "Hey, can I find out about that?" And I'm like, I'm going to send him back. But then I said, wait, I should give Julie a little credit. Like, she created this video, she found out about it, she shared it. And if people are like, hey, I'd like to do that, and say the paid version of this costs $30 a month, that company, if they can get a customer to pay $30 a month, they may pay you a 20% commission or 25% commission of that money, or they may pay you half of the person's first month. But I think it's a perfect example of how you can start off trying to make money on the internet by, on your own website, on your own domain, putting a link to a product or service that the company keeps track of. So anyway, Julie, I'm going to send you, if you can, I'll share with you. Maybe we'll do it next week. We'll sign up for an affiliate program at this company called Impact. And you basically, you put your information, you put what website you're going to do, you show that you're a real person. And then you put how you're going to do your marketing. In this case, we're doing content marketing. We're creating content to talk about something, to then get users to maybe go see the products and services that we recommend. Now, and that is only Freename is our sponsor for the show. So they kind of own, we talk about them a lot, and we hope that you'd visit freename.io.
They've got an affiliate program too, right?
And look at you, Julie. Look at you.
Oh, was I supposed to? Did I almost script myself? Am I just that cool?
Yeah, because you can tell people about Web3 domains. You can tell people about Web3 domains on Freename. It always helps to tell people about something if you have one yourself. And you can see the first-time buyer, the code here on the screen. You get 25% off site-wide, which means you can buy a TLD you can buy a domain name for as low as $5 to $10. You can buy a TLD for as low as $79. And then once you experience what it is to own a Web3 TLD, you'll know the goods, you'll know the bads, but you'll be able to put it in perspective for somebody. So yes, Freename. And then you get 15% of anyone who goes to freename.io from your link. You get 15% of the revenue that person generates when they buy something after getting to Freename from your link.
So we do have a comment that I would love to address because I know nothing about it, but I feel like it's definitely an important thing. Can you see the comment from Abbas up there?
It says, many people told me Freename is scammed like 14 years ago for BCC.
For Bitcoin.
I don't know about that. There is a company called Freename, Freenom. And they have given out free domains for the past 15 years, but that's Freename, Freenom. That's not Freename. This company is about 3 years old. They're based in Europe. They have over 30 employees. They have a well-regarded, prestigious funders and investors. So I don't think they're the one, as far as I know, they weren't alive 14 years ago to scam anyone, much less for Bitcoin. He says, Abbas says, yeah, I'd like to make the planet.giveaway, but people say it's a scam. So a scam. One, there's always going to be haters. You just have to look past them. Okay.
Yeah. You have to prove yourself that it's not.
And someone who thinks the world's perfect, they'll never do anything. And I think there's a big part of Web3 and a big part of domaining that says start. It's not going to be easy. Again, the easier I think sometimes something is, there's a phrase that you're the customer. If it's free and it's easy and anyone can do it, then they must be making money off you. I think, the one thing about the internet and domain names is you have to put in the work, you have to put in the effort. But when you create, you own. You own what you kill. which means if you build a community on your own website, then they either know that they want to come back and see what you have, or they can sign up for a newsletter for your website. And that way, once they sign up one time, every week or every month or every quarter, you can communicate back with your newsletter subscribers. Either tell them something interesting, communicate about your core product, highlight maybe things that other people that have visited your website have said about what you're doing, or do affiliate links. Or I always try to give some value in every newsletter. I either want to give an idea, or I focus on these three things. Am I providing something new, better, or different? There's a lot of internet businesses out there that just want you to list 1,000 products, and you just like, well, I don't really like any of these products, but maybe someone will buy them. You know what I mean? But I think what I always encourage people to do is create something new people haven't seen before, better. It's better than what's being offered now, or at least different. It's different than what people are looking at, so they have to check it out. So that's new, better, and different. And that's what I think.
I like
about
that.
Website.
That is a great motto. New, better, or different. Because I agree. It's all about the fun of a website and a TLD is you get what you put into it. Like, because it's kind of like you can't generalize into saying, oh, websites can be a scam. No, because there's so many. Someone's website will be a scam. It is up to you to not do that and to build a good rapport with your customer base. And if you're legit, and that's gonna show. Like what you put into something always gets pulled out of it. And so I think that's a really big deal, is just be better, new, or different, and be honest and be genuine.
Yeah.
Because people can smell a fake a mile away, especially nowadays with everyone being able to communicate as easily as they can with each other. People can smell a fake a mile away.
Yeah. So I'll get back to
another question.
Gotcha. We're at 7:30, Julie. We'll probably go about 10 more minutes.
All righty.
Before we get to this question, I just want to review the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, we talked about some basics of domaining, whether it's a Web 2 or a Web 2 domain. A domain name is a natural language word that takes the place of a number. The internet is run by numbers. Every website, every connection that you're watching this on, your computer is connecting to the internet through something called an IP address, and it's connecting with other IP addresses. And we would have to remember these 4 to 16 digit numbers if we wanted to communicate. You'd have to carry around a phone book, and you'd have to write down everyone's number of their website, and you'd have to type in, hey, I'm going to go see what Julie's doing. Okay, she's 016.149.142.3. And domain names were set up so that there'd be one list that everyone could use that says, I can just go to julie.art, or I can just go to, if you're using a Web3 list, meaning instead of going to look up the name on the existing system, it would .v that I want to look up. It isn't on the existing system. Oh, but I have the Freename DNS plugin, and it tells me to go get the information here. And it says, okay, go to this address, and it just delivers back an existing website address from the request that was made using this Web3 TLD. That's the basics of Web3 TLDs. All right, what do we have for our question?
We got two. I'm interested about the second one because that's going to be a common thing, I feel like. But the first one, are you seeing any emerging leaders in the Web3 search engines, Humble, Presearch, Web3 Compass, etc.? If so, any particular type of search query where Web3 search engine is better than Google?
Gotcha. So I think that there's a lot of room to be better than Google. I was involved when Google started, and there was a sense that no one knew what was on the internet. You know, how do I know if something's out there? Well, there was first what we had is called directories. And Yahoo was the biggest directory, and Yahoo's still out there. And what they did is they said, we're going to take all the websites and we're going to put them in categories, much like a library says, how do we organize all these books? We put them into categories. So then what you would do is you would type in a word if you were interested in it, like golf, and then Yahoo would say, here are the categories we have where there might be stuff about golf. and then you would pick and you would go to the website. So what Google said was, we're just going to take you directly to web pages that have stuff about golf. And they said, well, what web pages should we feature? And originally they said, well, what if the domain name has the word golf in it? It's probably likely that there's something golf related on there. Now that's less and less important now, but at the beginning it was very important. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Google does now is they say, okay, let's see who's linking to that website. Because if you have a link from a prestigious university or a newspaper or a website, and they're linking to content, that must be it's important. So Google uses this idea of link quality. They also use time on page. So you say, where's a Web3 search engine? I don't know about Humble. I have heard of pre-search, and what I like about it is it's kind of if I remember correctly, it's a new search engine. So one, a lot of people are curious, and they're like, yeah, I'll look at a new search engine because maybe I'll find something that isn't on the old search engine. Maybe I'll find someone's new idea about how to do something, not someone's old idea that's been the best idea for a long time, but who says it's the best answer to a question? So I've heard of I haven't heard of Web3 Compass. And then where's a Web3 search engine could be better than Google? I would simply say this: it's wide open for anyone to create different types of Web3 search engines.
Absolutely.
Different types of Web3 directories. And I wouldn't be so focused on, again, everyone wants a search engine to give them money. Hey, search engine, will you go tell everyone about my site? And what you soon realize, and this is one of the most important things I can teach anyone out there, is when I first got on eBay to buy things, that's was a lot of people's first website, 20 years they went on, to buy things on eBay. And then you realize you could sell things on eBay. And you were so like, oh my gosh, I want to put this stuff up and everyone's going to buy it. And what you soon realized was everybody was selling stuff on eBay. You know, how do you get your stuff to stand out? eBay doesn't care whether you sell something or someone else does. They just want someone to sell something. And I think the internet's a lot that way too. Google doesn't have a stake in promoting your website. They just want to promote all websites or the ones that benefit them the most. So what you get back to is you've got to do your own job marketing. And like Julie said, use social media, use YouTube. You know, I'm glad that we're doing this on multi-platforms because we don't know if Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube is going to be the platform that you may be looking for content about domain names. So we're going to put it everywhere. And then starting next week, we're going to put our own content, Julie, on Monday Night Domains. So if we mention something like a video creator where you can just simply give them a sentence and they can create a video, then we can say, if you want to find out more information, go to mondaynightdomains.com. And that's the perfect illustration of why having a good domain name is important.
Absolutely.
I didn't have to say it's Monday Night Domains with 2 Y's. I didn't have to say it's Monday Night Domains X473. I could just say it's, even though it's long, it's mondaynightdomains.com. And you probably got that in one take. You know what I mean? You didn't have to say, what was that? What was that? It was like, no, you're here listening to Monday Night Domains, and I said that our content is on mondaynightdomains.com. Oh, wait, am I saying Monday Night Domains enough, Julie?
Hey, I think I know how to spell that now.
mondaynightdomains.com. You're right. And you're dealing with
radio
words
test.
People have known how to spell for a long, long time. So hopefully just by doing that, we'll show the importance of having your own domain name. Now, even though you're finding out about us on social media, okay, I can still say with my voice Monday Night Domains and tell you where to go to our destination, that then you can sign up to find out what's going to happen on Monday Night Domains each week. You can see products and services that we feature. You can ask questions and say, hey, I watched your replay. I wasn't able to send a question, while you were doing the show, but could you talk about this next week? And so we can do that, on Monday Night Domains because it's our website and we control what happens there. And the last thing I went over the first couple of weeks is if we were just on social media, you would type in Monday Night Domains and you would get our, Twitter page or whatever, our X page. But then right underneath it, there could be an ad for another domain company.
Yeah.
To the right, there could be, hey, go follow these other domain companies. So think about it. It's like having someone come in your store because you sell shoes, And then Nike gets to come in and put an advertisement right in the middle of your store that says, go to Nike to buy your shoes. You know what I mean? Because you were using someone else's platform, and they're going to say, hey, we have to get paid. And you're like, okay, it's a fair trade. I get traffic from you, I get interest from you, and you have to make money the first time.
Precisely.
But once that customer engages with my community, then you want to bring him back to your own website, be it a Web 2 website or a Web 3 website. And the reason Web 3 for me isn't so, the biggest negative against Web 3 is there's one list of the top level domain names that are on every computer. And the Web 3 domain names are extra. They're above that list. They're not there by default for everybody. But like I've shared, and hopefully you've heard this more than one time, to get people's interest and attention, which is one of the things that's the most scarce anymore, you have to engage with them. And as long as you're engaging, they can take this extra step to see your domain name.
Yeah.
And now they're seeing it, you're on par. You're the same level as a .com or a .net. You know what I mean? Because they've downloaded the plugin. So now you can give them something that either perfectly matches what you want to do, or it's perfectly exciting, or it's a something that people didn't know about 20 years ago. They didn't know about 10 years ago. Like Julie, the domain name we talked about last week, inspo.xyz.
Yeah.
Well, you could be inspo for sites that are coming up with new inspiration and things like that. You know what I mean?
And
again,
that adds to your domain name. Like then it's not just whatever. It's not just a TLD. Like the TLD is adding to the value of your name. Because I'm saying Julie.inspo. I say that and you know something about what I'm doing, which is valuable. Instead of just saying, oh, Julie.com. What is that? I think that's valuable. I do want to get to this question because I think it's a really important thing to talk about with Web3 because I agree. It's all new tech. It's pretty complicated. There's a whole lingo. The biggest thing I've learned in domaining, because I've only been at this for about a year. You guys have your own language that you guys speak in that no one else understands. And so it's there on podcasts, it's there on help and support pages. And I think this is a really important thing that people are learning and that they're getting better at is that you either know everything about Web3 and you love it and it's everything, or you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? And so that is one of Freename's biggest things in having us do this podcast is bridging that gap and kind of bringing, we are the for dummies version of domaining. Like mainly we have our expert who's been in it for 25 years. I've been in it for a year. So if these questions that you have when you don't know what it is, I'm going to be asking. So, but people are starting to realize that Web3 so far has been built by people who know all about it and who are big tech guys and have probably been in the industry for a while. But now they're realizing, hey, we really need to bring in these people who may not know as much. And that's what I was mentioning earlier on the show when I said I think it's going to be really important to where if I'm asking you to go to a Web3 domain, I need to have a Web 2 domain that tells you that the first thing on it is download this browser.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a really important thing as Web3 grows. And I think the people who understand this, because I think Freename does understand this, that there is a lack of knowledge.
Yeah. It kind of becomes like in a game, you have like an Easter egg, you know what I mean? Which is like a secret world that you get to by pushing this button or going behind this frog or something like that. You know what I mean? And there's something about it. But I did want to share
I think the
about that question and about support. At first, I was frustrated because a lot of companies in the internet didn't offer support. They just said, here's our help pages. Go ahead and read our manual. You can search our manual. And we are used to getting help in the Web 2, in the not the Web 2 world, in the real world, in real life, if I have a problem. And with Web 3 domains, you get into things like wallets, and you get into things like downloading browsers, downloading browser extensions, minting your domain name inside your wallet. And what's been interesting about Web3 is most of the stuff you learn is from other members of your community. If you've ever downloaded a wallet, you kind of say, well, what is it? I'm going to download this thing and I'm going to put all my assets in it. Can I really trust it? And where trust comes from in Web3 usually is from the community. If you're on a space, if you're here on our show and we talk about owning your domain name inside of a wallet, as we talk about it more and more, you start thinking, okay, well, these people are trusting their wallets with their different domain name assets, and it's less of a stretch, you know what I mean? And the community then kind of self-polices, because if you looked up owning a domain name in your wallet and you got 1,700 Reddit posts that said, don't do it, that's kind of the community policing, what to do and what not to do. But the other thing that Freename does is they use Telegram as their main way to communicate with customers. And if you join their Telegram, which is itself kind of a decentralized community building app where you can interact, you can be in either the Q&A group where you can ask a question, and even before the Freename team gets to answer the question, maybe someone else in the community will be like, oh, yeah, I had that problem too. Let me tell you how I fixed it. Or, try this or try that. And so the community can kind of help, as long with the Freename customer support team is monitoring that. And they also have a Freename VIP thing where if you've spent more than a certain amount of money on top level domains, there's kind of a group that's kind of the people that maybe are a little more expert at it. They're talking about advanced strategies and things like that. And so you can join the regular Telegram channel, the Q&A channel, or it's a way to contact support. And it's a different way than you're used to with email and this, that, and the other. You go on Telegram, you put your question, you get your response. So I'd encourage you, if you're checking out Freename One, to get an account of Freename. It's free. And what I mean by that is you're not getting anything. You're not going to have any domains in your account, but you're going to be able to search for domain names. You're going to be able to see other people's domain names, what other people have bought by clicking on the Who Is or the Explorer. You're going to be able to be an affiliate. You don't have had to have bought anything from Freename to be able to get your affiliate link code. And then I think the other thing that you can do is people can give you domain names. They can send a domain name to your wallet address. And so that's another strategy some builders are using, is to open up a TLD, buy a lot of domains, and then just give them out to people. And I may say, hey, Julie, I got you juliehowe.v. Check it out. Here's what you can do with it. Here's the browser extension where you can see your website. I built you a quick website. It's already up. It's already working, And I think that's how a lot of people experience Web3 too.
I agree. All right, we got another question. Are we seeing geo-specific Web3 domains for property owners, such as record located for real estate title information, paying property taxes in crypto, or helping real estate agents?
Yeah, it's probably a place a lot of people go because buying and selling a home is one of the biggest purchases you make. So if people want to make money in cryptoizing things, then they look toward real estate. But the one thing I'll say where crypto and real estate don't match is that if you own a house, you own a house. You have a title to that house on the books and records of the city that you live in. And you don't need a cryptocurrency blockchain to say that you own it. You own it, and people may want to keep track of it using a blockchain. But if it comes down to whether the blockchain's right or whether you're right because you have bought it from the city, you bought it from a prior owner or you bought it from the city and you pay your property taxes, you own it, you don't need the blockchain to tell you if you own it. The reason the blockchain works great for digital assets is the domain doesn't exist physically. I can't hold it in my hand. I can't put it in my pocket. I can't put it in a storage unit. I can't take it with me. You know what I mean? I can't physically give it to Julie. It only exists digitally. And a domain name is kind of interesting because it exists, whether it's in your registrar account is whether or not you own it. That's the thing that matters for a Web 2 domain. And with the Web 3 domain, it's whether it's in your wallet, whether it's minted on the blockchain. And once you're in the Web 3 world with the virtual asset, then you can do amazing stuff with crypto. But I'm not sure if crypto is going to take over those things where it's still more important that the city that I live in says that I own my property, or the state I live in says if I own my car. Right? It's like, I don't want there to be a blockchain mistake and someone think they own my car. It's my car. I'm in it. I'm driving around. You know what I mean? And so, but if it was a digital car, if it was a car that I used in the metaverse to drive around in and I had it all tricked out for me, then the only way that car may exist and I may own it is to have that actual NFT in my wallet or something like that. So
I wonder if this could be potentially used for intellectual property or like patents, anything like that that's not technically tangible assets, anything, any kind of conceptual asset might have a Web3 use.
yeah, I
like
can see it maybe for copyright. Like
copyright, patent.
There used to be this thing. It was kind of an urban myth, and it was called the poor man's copyright.
Uh-huh.
And what you could do is say, Julie, you're musical, you're very creative. Say you wrote a song.
Thank you.
And you were like, well, I wrote this song, or I wrote this poem, and I want to prove that I wrote it. Well, you say, well, did you file a copyright on it? And you're like, no, I didn't know. I didn't know an attorney. I didn't know how to do it. And so there used to be this urban legend where you could basically make a copy of it and mail it to yourself. And you would mail it to yourself in an envelope with the U.S. postmark on it. And then you wouldn't open that envelope when you got it back, because you could always say, wait, the U.S. Post Office stamped that this letter that had this inside of it was mailed on this specific day. You know what I mean? And that was kind of a way to memorialize. And so if you think about the blockchain, in some ways, it's the same thing. It's memorializing that you did something or own something. And until you transfer that asset on the blockchain to someone else, you're still the recorded owner of that asset on the blockchain.
Right.
So yeah, I think it could be used for different types of intellectual property. And that's how people know you did it. But I think we're coming down to the end, cool. Julie. Let's see what else.
Sorry, that was my tangent.
Right.
We got another question from more than SEO. Are you seeing Web3 SLDs working with virtual land, digital real estate?
Yeah.
Whether it be a game land like voxels or an Earth-based virtual land like Earth to your Upland.
The reason that I'm thinking about doing Planet V for my top level domain is I want to give people more things to say that they own with their domain name. You know what I mean? That their domain name, like julie.v, would also be that they would get ownership of land maybe on Planet V. And you can kind of mix domains and metaverse together. I think domains are kind of the original metaverse. If you think about a domain name, it's a virtual image concept of a website that doesn't exist in reality. It exists in your mind and on the internet. You know what I mean? So if you think of the whole internet as a metaverse, really, the domain name system is kind of the first metaverse. You know, it's a virtual world of websites throughout the whole world that are owned by all kinds of different people that we can go to simply by typing them in a browser. And so the reason I
always think of it like webkins.
Yeah, I think voxels. And by the way, if you Google voxelization, it's really cool what people do with voxelizing different pictures and images and breaking it into little, pieces, and almost like you can think about voxelization as like Legoization. You know what I mean? Think of all the Legos where they take a character like Darth Vader or something, and then they make a Lego out of it, and it kind of makes it, kind of like Minecraft, I guess, Julie, where it takes an asset and makes it into this image of it. And if you think about some of the most valuable NFTs, there was an NFT, which is really just a digital record, a digital asset. In this case, a picture that someone made an offer on it. The seller didn't even accept the offer. Someone offered $15 million for what's called a CryptoPunk. That's one of the earliest crypto.
Oh my gosh.
And if you think about any collectible that you've ever seen, like baseball cards or figurines or songs or toys or video games or anything, people discovered, like more during COVID than anything, that they wanted collectibles that were in the digital world. And so all of a sudden you have this rare exclusive thing where you can say you have one of these CryptoPunks. Someone offered $15 million for something that doesn't really exist in real life. It's just a blockchain record of a picture. But the appeal is someone's going to be able to say that they own it. So besides use, one of the reasons that Web3 domains have been so popular, and there's been over 20 million of them sold, is sometimes you may not even use your Web3 domain name like you would a Web2 domain name for a website. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes you just like to say you own it.
You just like to have it.
Yeah. I own pagehow.metaverse.
Which is fun.
Yeah. Or I own my phone number.
I just have Julie Jules.
Yeah. And you just want to be able to say you own it. And the price that you may have paid just to say you own it and I did something for me, you know what I mean? It's kind of like Starbucks talks about how they don't really sell coffee. They sell the experience. They sell the luxury. They sell the indulgence that tells you
I do pay that $8 for that luxury.
And you do. And someone says, oh, well, you can get a cup of coffee for 45 cents. You know what I mean? But it's like, well, but this is what it makes me feel about myself, about my future, about my life, about what I can do to myself. And that's one of the reasons here at this ICANN conference that a lot of people get confused about Web3 is they just don't understand it because they want to believe in their old stuff that they own. And I'm like, a lot of people just want to own new stuff. They just want to own stuff that they invented or they came up with. You know, I thought of a name that no one else had thought of, and I own it. And I can say I own it. And maybe I'm gonna do something with it, or maybe I'm just gonna own it, and maybe it'll be cool in conversation to say I can own it. Or remember, the number one reason to have a domain name is still use. And what I mean by that is, can you use a domain name to help you make money in the real world? We all are gonna spend money in the real world tonight, this week, or this month. We're going to spend money in the real world. And how we spend it, if people can use their domain names to get people to spend money with their own businesses or businesses that they're referring, that's still the number one use of a domain name. And sometimes it can just be like me with .v. Hey, I'm doing .v, and someone's like, oh, that's interesting. Let me check it out. Oh, okay. And then maybe they just have a little bit better feeling about me when I say, hey, you want to buy some of my other domains or something like that. You know, you're just using it to help you in the real world.
Yeah.
And we're all going to spend money in the real world. Why not make some money digitally to spend in the real world?
Agreed.
Because we're certainly making money in the real world to spend it digitally.
Yes.
Why not make money digitally to be able to spend it in the real world? And
100%.
that's probably one of the best things that we can put on our show and our little clips and everything. So
I agree. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. We will see you back here next week, same time, same place. Well, Dad won't be in Puerto Rico, but I'll be in the same place. So do you think you have 3 more seconds for a question, Dad?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see if we have time. I have a question. I bought .bitmap, but bitmappers are not coming in the first months. Why? I asked them. One told me it's a scam. Well, I know you've used that word scam a couple times, and you know, a lot of times when you buy a name like bitmap, I don't know what that is. I may just be naive. But if it's someone else's thing and you're thinking, hey, I can make money off someone else's thing, you know, no one likes to make money. No one likes if someone would make money off me. If someone went out there and said, I'm Page Howe and I'm a domain name investor, buy my book, and they weren't me, I'd be ticked off. So I don't know if bitmap is your invention or whether it's, you know, it's something that someone else used. And there's a group of people out there called bitmappers, and why aren't they coming to you? I guess I would flip it around and say, just keep doing things until they come to you, you know, without asking why. So anyway, More Than SEO, thanks for your questions. Abbas, thanks for your questions. Stephen, everybody, and we'll see you next week on Monday Night Domains.
Bye, guys. We appreciate you guys.